And it's Day 9 Daily 481, where we learn to be a better gamer, and we have learned, all about this inventive style from CreatorPrime that relies largely on abandoning the Colossus altogether, and instead of favoring the immobility but power of the Colossus, he's favoring the slightly less powerful but very mobile, very fast Blinkstalker immortal composition that, as we're still seeing, is giving to Jergies quite a bit of trouble. That is delicious water. Let's hop into a variation where what we're going to see is the same opening structure from CreatorPrime, but he's going to identify that his opponent is being a little weak and then just killing him. Let's do it. Boo! Boo! Alright, so we're going to be watching a game between CreatorPrime and Lenok. Lenok is known for being pretty good. Is that? Wow, that's really loud. I like it. Let's leave it on. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and identify the same structure in this game. Alright, starting off on the map, Daybreak against Lenok, Foyu, who plays a very different style than many people. We see a Forge first, Nexus, Pylon on 18, a Gateway following that, as well as a Photon Cannon. Per usual, we see the double assimilator play. And what are some characteristics that we saw in the last two games that we expect to see here? We expect to see Warp Gate, Sentry, +1. That's very typical. We saw from him in the last game, and what do you know? Warp Gate, Sentry, +1. Cool. After that, we expect the double gas. Nifty-tastic. It's exactly what we would expect. What would we then expect? Some number of gateways to then be constructed. 1 gateway, 2 gateway. Cool. This is the exact same thing that we saw in the last game. Let's go ahead and go to the creator cam. And look at this, a Twilight Council. What we saw from him last game was an addition of some gateways, followed by an expand. We're still seeing almost exclusively Sentry production. We have 3 in production, and when Warp Gate finishes, we're going to add on a whole slew more. Blink. 3 gateways. Nice. Come on. Come on. There it is, the +2. But interestingly, instead of expanding, we go gateway number 4 and a robo. Oh yes, that's right. Yet again, we're scouting around here. Now notice that if you just watched my daily, parts 1 and 2, and then you hopped on the ladder, if you're a Zerg player and you're seeing this, you're going, oh, I saw that on the daily. This Protoss dude must be going for that 3rd base. Oh, I get it. I get it. But then, in fact, what our Protoss player is actually doing is, after he scouts down here, clears it all out, he just frickin' builds an observer and starts making a whole bunch of stalkers at a time. And just pushes his opponent and kills him. It's not the fastest push in the world, but it's very potent, because at 10:30, we managed to successfully get +2. This makes us very deadly, 16 damage. And what we're going to see is the worst nightmare for a Zerg player. A Protoss who literally is attacking us at our strongest point. How many hatches does he have? Yep, even has that 4th hatch up. And per usual, you might need some good blink control, but good blink control is pretty straightforward. Oh, he's blinking back. Uh-oh. Oh no, Lenok. Lenok's making some headway, but oh, not for long. Not for long. This is not the most enlightening game, but it certainly is one that we should no doubt watch. Yep, guess whose life's bad? Leenock. Yeah. Yep. Back home, nothing going on, just 7 gates. And actually, since that was so short, I guess I will show this one. I actually didn't think that I had... I think I had time to do this one, but I clearly have time to do this one. We're just going to look at a game where we're going to get cheesed, right? This is one of the big reasons why I always say make sure that you scout for the third base, because it will often be the most revealing. So, per usual, we're going to hop into Leenock's base. We see that he is going to try to expand. We permit him to expand. We come back here. We see we didn't actually look at the gas geysers, which we kind of should have, because one is done. Regardless, we see a zealot incoming. A little bit of a difference, but for the most part, it's just the same. Gateway, +1. Sentry, warp gate, +1. Getting the 2 gas geysers after that. And what I'm actually going to do is come back briefly here to 1440. And just note that in the everyone cam, Leenock is being very tricksy. He's building his third base. And then what he's going to do is when this Roach Warren finishes, he's going to cancel it. And then we see a huge swell of roaches. 8 roaches incoming right now. So even with little to no scouting, at this point, this is when our good friend Protoss, Creator, realizes, oh my god, there's no third base. 1 Zealot is good for this. A Probe also works for this because it can outrun Zerglings. But you just see it, and no problem. Build up as many cannons as you can. You should have 2 sentries. And as long as you build these photon cannons a little ways back, you'll be in good shape. You might lose some probes, but just go back to chrono boosting immediately. I think this is quite an important structure to build, because if you get a Stargate... Okay, so first of all, your opponent doesn't have a third. Why does he not have a third? Because he's attacking you. Up to 10 minutes, if he's being really aggressive, there's really no way he can have a third base. Therefore, if you get a Stargate and you go Void Ray, you just park the Void Ray here and then he can't take a third base. So this is an excellent play. Not only will the Void Rays help defend you against the Roaches, Lings, and Banelings of Hatchery Tech, but also you deny the third base definitively. So the Tickle Beams are not enough. Got us. No big deal, we just trap them in, bring probes, take them down, take them to the lettuce store. Getting that lettuce money, gobbling them up. Gosu Micro. In other words, it's a little tricky. We abandon our old game plan, but that's fine. We just immediately re-popped up with our Void Ray tech, and Leenock just GG's as he doesn't have a third, and he actually has a worse economy than Protoss. What? An awesome daily. That's one of my favorite dailies I've done in the last long time. That was kick-ass. I'm really happy about that daily, and I can always tell when I'm happy about a daily because I immediately want to log off and go play StarCraft. It's just such a fun way to play because you have options with the Stalker Immortal. I'm sure many people have felt this with Colossus, where you sit there and then build up the Colossus, and then you go and attack, and then you die. And you're like, well, that was fun just sitting around doing fucking nothing, building Colossus, and then dying. That's educational. But this one you can go get in his face and smack him around a little bit with a large trout. So let's go ahead and take some questions. Some questions from the players. Who do I want to win GSL? Beyond, because he's the only Terran remaining. And Terrans currently are getting destroyed. They're getting mauled. It is so appalling, but I don't care at all, because I believe in Beyond. Nemaz, happy 19th birthday. Excellent. Here's a great question from Kado Inc. Studios. Day 9, how do you think the Demaga style of Zerg with Baneling drops would do well against this style of play? I actually What's nice about this is that we went for the Dark Shrine, which means that at any point in time, if he's building a lot of Zerglings, we can immediately warp in Zealots, DTs, and get Archons. We can switch to Zealot Archon quite quickly, but for the most part, it's not actually that much worse. With the Baneling drops, you can actually just blink the Stalkers out of the way, and it's okay. The Baneling drop play generally works a little better against the Colossus, because Protoss units stack underneath the Colossus, so you have like the whole army in a very small area, and you just kind of kill it that way. So it's actually going to be quite good. You have to do some really good control, but not a problem. Alright, so, how would this build fare against heavy Mutiling style? Well, what's nice is that you have the intuitive answers. You have your 10 gates. You're going to cut Immortals, because you just don't really need Immortals against Mutiling. And with the money that you gain by not building the Immortals, you get Stormers, you get High Templar, and you build more cannons. Pretty straightforward, and then once again, you're going to rely on mobility, being aggressive, using warp prisms, and you're going to be expanding more rapidly. But even so, requires some good control, but you're in a very, very, very comfortable position. Very, 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 very. Oh, God. I'm going to take 2 more. Refreshing. Refreshing. Yeah. Commander Drew says, Day 9, does it matter when the Protoss takes his 3rd base, or should it be as soon as possible? I always have problems when trying to take my 3rd. Yeah, you can do it real fast. Interestingly, the earlier you take it, generally the safer. Because earlier on, he won't have Speedlings, he won't have Speed Roaches, he won't actually have that many units, he'll be a droning. You have to do some small scouting, like just to make sure that he has taken a 3rd, that he does have drones at the 3rd. And if you can identify that, then you can just take a 3rd pretty comfortably. As long as you just build some buildings for some wall-offs, and have a lot of sentries, and a really good reaction time. And the reaction time is far and away the most important. If those 3 things are true, easiest expo snag in the world. And then you get your extra gateways up earlier, so you get a bigger army, so your 3rd becomes even easier to defend over time. It's wonderful. If you're looking for the best way and the best timing to take a 3rd base, I would definitely look at the game 1 that we just saw on Ohana. Ohana. Last question. Last amazing question by Vijutsu. Vijutsu says, do you think lots of counterattacks would work? I would say that counterattacks are just always kind of scary to deal with, but the way it should look is that your Stalkers are so fast that they can get back kind of quickly. Also, you have so many gateways that if they counterattack in 2 places, you can actually warp into both, 5 in each spot, and be kind of safe. But if your opponent's counterattacking a lot, then basically that's going to be delaying his hive tech, and you can just continue to expand and expand and expand and expand. And then you might never attack him. Maybe the first attack that you actually make to him is at 22 minutes. Doesn't matter because he's been letting you get to 5 bases. With that in mind, I end the daily. I will see you bright and early on Friday for the MLG Summer Arena, where I'll be casting out in that there New York City. And then after that, I'll be home. I'll be home for Fun Day Monday, where you should submit to me the closest games ever played to Monday at day9.tv. For Newbie Tuesday, we're going to be looking at some Zerg Leak Finder games, where you submit to me your games where you struggled as a Zerg player. Send those to Tuesday at day9.tv. And on Wednesday and Thursday next week, we are going to be checking out some Zerg games. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much. I'm very happy with how that daily went. Oh, what a relief. Oh, man, that was... Oh, whew. Oh, thank goodness that was the scariest ever. Oh. I'm pumped. Here we go. Music.